Smurl, and I'm interviewing my grandfather, Bill Smurl, who is a World War II veteran. All right, here we go. First question. How old were you at the beginning of the Vietnam War?
I think I was about 35, 36, I guess. 36, maybe.
Right. Did you feel the U.S. had to go to war?
Well, I wasn't sure at the time. As it turned out, I think it was a poor decision to go to war because the French were in Vietnam and they got out, and then the Americans came in, and it was a tough war to fight.
All right. Were you in favor of the war or no?
No, I would say no.
Okay.
Going through World War II, I would say no.
Did the media affect that at all?
I think they did. I think we got some good reports, and sometimes we got some bad reports because the Vietnamese were very hard to fight because we didn't know who the Northerns were and the Southerns were. They were all Vietnamese, period. And it was basically a jungle war. We didn't fight a jungle war before.
This question's kind of similar. It's what part did television play in informing people about the war?
I think the television maybe sometimes was a little biased. I think they didn't give us all the details.
Right.
I think that's why a lot of people didn't understand the Vietnam War.
Right. Do you think that it was a good idea for the United States to approve the Tonkin Gulf Resolution, which authorized President Johnson with a blank check to take whatever actions he deemed appropriate?
Well, I don't think so, but at that point in time, I think we were so far into it, he didn't have much choice in the matter. And I think he did, if I remember correctly, I think he did have the backing of Congress, but it was kind of futile in a way.
What do you think of the decisions made by the presidents during the war?
Well, I don't know. I think they were between a rock and a hard place, really.
Right.
We got ourselves into it, and I think it was very difficult to figure out a way to get out because people were really divided at that time. They were really divided whether we should be fighting or not fighting.
Do you think the government let the people down, particularly the soldiers?
Well, I think everybody let the soldiers down because they came home from the war and were really kind of frowned upon. The Vietnam War was a very unpopular war, so there were a lot of mixed emotions. I think there's still some mixed emotions today.
How did the inflation during the 1970s affect you?
No, I honestly don't remember. I don't know.
Good enough.
I was married at the time and working, so it
Right.
didn't affect me too much.
What do you think of Jane Fonda?
I think she realizes after all these years she made a very, very bad mistake. I think maybe her intentions were good, but it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called her Hanoi Jane, which was a bad reputation at that time.
What were your thoughts on the public's negative perception of, I don't know how to say this, My Lai massacre?
Yes, well, see there again, they not being there or anything like that, I think they got into a situation where you couldn't tell the enemy from the friendly people. And that's why they had a lot of villages where they went in and shot people up because, first of all, it was in retaliation. I think a lot of it was in retaliation. And that's even going on today in Iraq. It's retaliation. And they didn't know who a lot of these people were.
Do you think human rights were violated during the war?
Oh, I'm sure they were, because some soldiers were brought up on charges. I don't remember them all, but I know some were brought up on charges. I would say yes, they were violated.
Do you think the war affected President Johnson's decision not to run again?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Right.
I think he was in a catch-22 situation, and he just felt that he didn't want to go through it anymore. I think that's why he stepped down.
Right. Did you do anything to support your opinion of the war?
No, I don't remember that I did.
Right? What was your reaction when the war ended?
Well, obviously, I was happy that it ended because going through World War II, I knew what that was about, and I knew that Vietnam was a very unpopular war, so the sooner the conclusion came, the better, really.
Since you served in World War II, how is your perspective different than that of a 25-year-old?
Well, there were two different wars in my opinion. We knew who the enemy was in World War II, and it was basically land and sea, and I think the Vietnam War, probably 90% of it, or even more than that, was a lot of jungle fighting, and it was an entirely different war. It was different, and you didn't know the good guys from the bad guys.
Compare how you were treated at the end of World War II to the reception Vietnam soldiers received at the end of the war.
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
Much better,
Say
yeah.
the least, yeah.
I mean, they looked down on the Vietnam guys in World War II. It was, what was it, Tom Brokaw wrote The Greatest Generation or something. So, and we, World War II veterans, we came out victorious, and even Vietnam was questionable. The country's still divided today. It's still divided.
Right. Are you surprised that we're on such good terms with Vietnam today?
In a way, no. Because we're on friendly terms with everybody that we've beaten. We're friendly terms. We brought the economy back in Japan. We brought the economy back in Germany. And these are people that we defeated in World War II.
Right.
So today, and visitors still go to Vietnam. And no, because I think we're a caring caring country. So
Agreed.
they're not our enemies anymore.
Right. And last question. Do you think the Vietnam War has influenced American foreign policy?
You know, I don't know that it has, because we have ourselves into Iraq. We never should have gone, in my opinion. We are stuck down in Afghanistan now, and it seems we have a tough time deciding what's good, what's bad, and we can no longer be the policeman of the country. We just can't. We have to get away from that. We can't force democracy down other people's throats if they don't want it, and it's not going to work. So don't get involved in these wars.